Bella was standing by the door with a bucket. She came to knock for water, but when she heard her name, she stayed still and listened to every word. The next morning, she acted normal. She swept the compound, bathed the kids, and even greeted Tally politely, but 7 days later, she disappeared. She left before dawn, leaving only a note under her pillow. Auntie Tina, thank you for loving me. But I can't stay here anymore. I heard everything. Tell your husband that I forgive him, but I refuse to be used. If you ever need me, I'll come back. But right now, I must go. I cried so much that day. Tally was angry. So now we've lost both the girl and the chance to escape poverty. I looked at him with disgust. You didn't lose her. You pushed her away. A week later, the strangest thing happened. Tally came home from the market holding his right arm. My hand feels funny, he said. By evening, his leg twisted. He collapsed in the bathroom. We rushed him to the hospital. Madam, the doctor said. There is nothing wrong with your husband. We can't find anything in his system. He is fine. The next morning, he couldn't talk. His mouth bent to one side, and his right hand was stiff like dry wood. The man who wanted to make someone useless had become useless himself, and that was when it clicked. I remembered Bella's last line, tell your husband I forgive him. But I refused to be used. What if? She didn't run because she was afraid. What if she used him for something else? One day, while feeding Tally, he whispered with his twisted mouth, she used me. I asked him to repeat. He just shook his head and cried. Since that day, strange things started happening in the house. Every night at 1 a.m., our gate would rattle like someone was knocking. But when we checked, nothing. The baby's toys would roll on their own. The kitchen tap turned itself on. One afternoon, Tally's phone rang. I picked it. A female voice whispered, how does it feel to be powerless? Then she laughed and hung up. It was Bella's voice. That's when I knew she didn't just run away, she did something. Something spiritual. And now, my husband was paying for it. He used to chase wealth. Now, he couldn't even chase after his own slippers. We took Tally to the village. He could no longer walk. His eyes were tired, and his body had become thin like dry broomsticks. He couldn't talk properly. Just stammered words and silent tears. My mother-in-law cried when she saw him. What happened to my son? He was strong like a lion before. I didn't say anything. How would I explain that her son tried to use a little girl for ritual? That evening, we took him to a native doctor deep in the forest. The place was scary. Red cloths were hanging on trees, the smell of herbs filled the air, and drums were beating slowly from a corner. The native doctor, an old man with grey beards and white chalk all over his face, looked at my husband. Then looked at me. He said nothing for a long time, then he laughed. A deep, dry laugh that made my skin crawl. He picked up a cowrie and blew on it. Then he spoke, the girl you call Maid is not an ordinary child. Everyone looked at him in shock. He continued, she is a water child. Born from the river, given to humans. Her parents unalive because she refused to serve the water spirit that owns her destiny. But when your husband tried to offer her for blood money, she went back to her source. I held my chest. I felt like I would stop breathing. She accepted her calling to save you and your 2 children, the native doctor said, pointing at me. She used 3 white birds as sacrifice. 1 for you. 1 for your son. 1 for your daughter. But your husband. He was the reason she went back to the water. So she gave his name to the spirits in exchange for your safety. My legs shook. What will happen to my husband? I asked with trembling lips. The native doctor looked me in the eyes and said, his spirit has been tied to a tree in the middle of the river. He will live, but he will suffer. She didn't kill him. She made him feel what she felt, helpless. I started crying. My husband, who once danced like a king on our wedding day, now sat in a corner, peeing on himself and mumbling I'm sorry to a girl who wasn't even there. The native doctor gave us some herbs to calm him, but he warned me, never look for that girl again. She belongs to the water now, and the water does not forgive twice. We returned to the city. people came to visit Tali. Some shook their heads. Some whispered, "Oh, this is spiritual. This is not ordinary. Maybe he offended someone." I wanted to scream, "Yes, he did." But I kept quiet. One night, my daughter came to me. She was just 6 years old. "Mommy, I dreamt about Auntie Bella." She said she lives under the sea now. She was wearing a long blue dress and playing with fish. I didn't say anything, but my son added, "She told me she still loves us. But she doesn't like Daddy." I cried again that night. A year passed. Tali was now like a baby. I bathed him, fed him, even changed his diapers. I became a widow with a living husband. I closed my shop to take care of him. I was tired. One day, I went to the river. I stood there and looked at the water. "Bella," I whispered. "I'm sorry." The wind blew. The water moved gently. And I heard a faint voice, "Protect your children." He was warned. 3 months later, Tali Una lived, no sickness. He just didn't wake up. When we opened his palm, there was something written in white chalk, "Death paid." That day it rained, but only on his grave, not a drop touched anywhere else. Moral lessons: 1. Do not take advantage of the helpless. You don't know who they really are. 2. Greed can make a man sell his soul, but the price may be higher than money. 3. Kindness protects you even when you don't know it.